Welcome to the Kendra Woods Show. I'm Kendra Woods, and this is a space for high achieving women navigating success, self doubt, and the pressure that often lives beneath it. On this show, we explore the hidden patterns that shape how you lead your life, make decisions, and relate to success. Because success isn't just what you build, it's how you lead yourself. And here we learn to lead ourselves well. Welcome back to the Kendra Woods Show. This is a space where we talk about self-leadership, identity, emotional maturity, and what it really takes for high achieving women to redefine success from the inside out. I'm Kendra Woods, and today we're talking about what self-leadership actually looks like. Not the polished version, not the I have my morning routine and a color coded calendar kind of version. I'm talking about the version that shows up when you are triggered, when you're under pressure, when you have a decision to make, when your emotions are loud, when business or your career feels uncertain, when life is full and you still have to decide who you are going to be inside of it. And I'm going to throw one more in there because this is my current reality right now. This is also about the version of you that shows up as you're moving through perimenopause. I just have to say this because I'm seeing this come up so much in my masterminds that I facilitate and my Q&As that I do is, women navigating their businesses and their careers while also moving through the ups and downs and the chaos of perimenopause. Right? Because in all these moments that I just listed, this is where self leadership actually lives. And so before we get into today's episode, I want to invite you into Lead Like Her. Lead Like Her is my 6-week leadership experience for high achieving women who are ready to stop leading themselves through pressure and start leading themselves through calm authority. This is not about doing more. It's about learning how to hold what you are already capable of creating. Because many women know how to create momentum, but very few have been taught how to sustain it without abandoning themselves, without overriding their bodies, second guessing their decisions, or turning their power into pressure. Inside of Lead Like Her, we are working through identity, emotional regulation, self trust, nervous system steadiness, and embodied leadership so that you become the woman who can be trusted with her power. So if you feel the pull, you can DM me on Instagram, the link's in the show notes, or you could click the link in the show notes to just read the whole invitation page and learn all the details. Okay, let's get into our conversation today. I want to start with this. You are already leading yourself every single day. You're leading yourself in the way you respond to pressure. You're leading yourself in the way you make decisions. You're leading yourself in the way you talk to yourself after something does not go according to plan. You're leading yourself in the way that you handle your emotions, your energy, your standards, your boundaries, your ambition, your money, your visibility, your relationships, your body, all of it. So the question is not, am I leading myself? Yes, you are. The better question is, am I leading myself consciously? Because a lot of women are leading themselves unconsciously. They are repeating the same patterns over and over again, but they're not questioning them. They are calling it discipline. They're calling it ambition. They're calling it responsibility. They're calling it, this is just how I am. But underneath all of that, may be a pattern that has been running the show the whole entire time. Pressure, proving, urgency, overthinking, needing certainty before you move, needing external validation before you trust what you already know. And I want to say this with so much compassion, but also with precision. Just because a pattern helped you create success does not mean it can sustain the woman that you are becoming. And that is where so many high achieving women get caught up, right? They know how to perform, they know how to produce, they know how to get it done, but they have not always been taught how to lead themselves in a way that feels clean, steady, and sustainable. So, this is what we're talking about today. So, here's the pattern I see: she's leading, but she doesn't feel in control of her energy, her time, or her internal state. She's making money, but it doesn't feel clean or sustainable. She's growing, but it feels like she has to keep up with what she's created. And that is such a specific kind of exhaustion. All right. Because from the outside, it looks like things are working. People may admire her. People may come to her for answers. People may assume she's confident, grounded, clear, and in control. But internally, she feels like she's constantly trying to catch up to the version of herself that everyone else sees. She is holding the business, the clients, the family, the decisions, the emotional labor, the schedule, her own health. She's holding the next level, the standards, the expectations. And somewhere inside, she's thinking, I wanted this. This is exactly what I prayed for. So, why does it feel like so much to hold? That is the conversation many women are not having out loud, because it can feel ungrateful to admit that the thing that you prayed for now feels heavy. It can feel confusing to admit that the growth you wanted is also stretching your nervous system. I get it. It can feel confronting to realize that you know how to create momentum, but you do not yet know how to hold it without going into pressure. And this is where self-leadership has to become more conscious, because you can be leading your life and still not feel led from within. You can be moving, producing, deciding, managing, and achieving. But if the energy underneath all of that is fear, urgency, proving, or collapsing, then you're not truly leading from your power. You're being driven by pressure. And there's a huge difference there. Okay. So this brings me to something that I want to introduce to you today: unregulated power. Because for many women, the issue is not that they lack power. That's not the problem, right? She has the power, she has the vision, she has intelligence, she has capacity, she has the ability to create, build, sell, lead, teach, hold, provide, nurture, execute. Okay. The issue is that her power has not always been regulated. And power without regulation becomes pressure. So I want you to think about electricity. Electricity is powerful. It can light a home, it can run an entire system, it can create warmth, movement, connection, function. But electricity needs wiring. It needs grounding. It needs a system that can hold the voltage. Because if too much power moves through a system that is not built to hold it, what happens? The circuit blows, the lights flicker, the system shuts down. That is what happens to a lot of high achieving women. Their dreams are not too big, their capacity is not too small, but their internal system has not been supported at the level of what they are creating. So the power starts leaking everywhere. It leaks into overthinking. It leaks into control. It leaks into emotional reactivity. It leaks into saying yes when your body is clearly saying no. It leaks into changing your mind 20 times because you don't trust the first clean decision. It leaks into building something beautiful and then quietly panicking because now you have to sustain it. That is unregulated power. And I want you to hear me clearly on this. Unregulated power does not mean you're weak. It means that your power needs direction. It means your nervous system needs steadiness. It means your identity needs to catch up to your capacity. It means your leadership has to become more conscious, because when your power is regulated, it does not disappear. It becomes cleaner, it becomes steadier, it becomes more precise. It stops running you and you begin directing it. That is leadership. Now, this is also why identity matters so much, because the way that you see yourself determines how you lead yourself. Your self concept shapes what you believe you can hold. It shapes what you believe you can receive, what you believe you can charge, what you believe you can say no to, what you believe you can sustain, what you believe you're allowed to become. And I want you to really sit with that, because sometimes the issue is not that you don't know what to do. Sometimes the issue is that the version of you making the decision does not feel stable enough to stand behind it. So you know the move, but then you question it. You know the boundary, but then you soften it. You know the price, but then you explain it. You know the message, but then you water it down. You know the next step, but then you go looking for more reassurance before you take it. So that is not a strategy problem. That is an identity stability problem, because when your identity is shaky, everything outside of you gets too much power. A slow response becomes a story. A quiet launch becomes a verdict. A no becomes proof. A mistake becomes this huge identity crisis. A moment of uncertainty makes you question the whole entire path. And again, I say this with compassion and with empathy, because I get it. I move through this as well. And I say this because high achieving women are often very good at holding the external structure. But internally, there can still be a part of her that's asking, can I really trust myself? Can I really hold this? Can I really become the woman this dream requires? And this is why identity is the core foundation of excellent self leadership. Because the woman who sees herself as behind will lead herself differently than the woman who sees herself as devoted. The woman who sees herself as fragile will lead herself differently than the woman who knows that she can be with the discomfort. The woman who sees herself as someone who always needs permission will lead herself differently than the woman who knows she can choose, move, learn, and adjust. Self leadership starts with the identity you are leading from, not the task, not the strategy, not the next productivity hack, the identity. Who do you believe you are while you are holding your life? That's the question. And that question really matters. Okay. Now, another piece to this conversation is emotional regulation, because emotional regulation is not optional. So let's talk about this, because this is where self leadership becomes very real. It's easy to be self led when everything is calm. It's easy to feel grounded when the launch is working, the money is flowing in, the people are responding, the schedule feels spacious, and no one has said anything that activates you. In those scenarios, self leadership is it's pretty easy, right? But what about when you feel exposed? What about when something disappoints you? What about when someone misunderstands you? What about when you feel rejected? What about when you wake up and your energy is low, but your standards are still high? Hello, perimenopause. What about when your nervous system wants to make a story out of one moment? That is where self leadership lives because many women are not making decisions from clarity, they're making decisions from activation. They feel uncomfortable, so they try to fix something. They feel uncertain, so they go searching for another answer. They feel unseen, so they over explain. They feel afraid, so they overwork. They feel out of control, so they start controlling everything. And this is why emotional regulation matters because an emotional state is not always a leadership strategy. Just because the fear is loud does not mean it's wise. Just because the urgency is loud does not mean it's accurate. Just because your nervous system wants relief does not mean the next move should be made from that state. Emotional regulation gives you the pause. Not the pause that avoids action, the pause that brings you back into clean leadership. The pause where you ask yourself, what is actually happening? What am I making this mean? What do I know to be true? What would the woman I am becoming choose from here? That is the kind of pause that changes everything. Because regulation is not about never feeling. It's about not handing your leadership over to every feeling that moves through you. You feel the emotion and still stay with yourself. You feel the activation and still not collapse your identity around it. You feel the discomfort and still choose your next step with precision. That is emotional maturity. That is self leadership. Okay. Now I want to talk to you about self trust. Not, well, I should say decision trust. Let me put it that way, trusting your decisions. Because this is one of the clearest places that self doubt shows up for high achieving women. She is brilliant. She's intuitive. She can be experienced. She can have evidence that she knows what she's doing. And still, when it's time to decide, she starts outsourcing her authority. She asks 5 people. She rereads the post 10 times. She changes the offer yet again. She delays the email. She wonders, oh, well, maybe I should do this instead of that. And the thing that's interesting is that she tells herself that she's just, being thoughtful. I'm just considering, all the options, but really she's trying to avoid the discomfort of standing behind her own choice. And listen, I know that pattern intimately. I know a lot of these patterns intimately, hence why this is the work that I do in the world. So this is not about shaming yourself. You are human, okay? This is about seeing the cost of constantly needing external confirmation before you move. Because every time you outsource your decision, you weaken your relationship with your own authority. Let that sink in. Every time you outsource your decision, you weaken your relationship with your own authority. And it's not because support is bad. Support is a beautiful thing, right? I love being a well-supported, well-resourced woman. But support should help you hear yourself more clearly. It should not replace your ability to trust yourself. And this is where I want to offer a reframe. Trusting your decisions does not mean you are certain every single decision will be perfect. Okay. It means that you trust yourself to lead yourself through what happens after you decide. That's the shift. And listen, that right there that I shared with you has been the biggest shift for me and the biggest game changer is recognizing that I can trust my decisions without needing the decision that I make to be perfect because I know deep down that whatever happens on the other side, I can lead myself through it. I've got this. Okay. I find that, so many women are waiting to feel completely certain before they move. But self leadership says, I can choose, I can move, I can adjust, I can learn, I can stay with myself either way. That is decision trust. These are things, what I just said to you, like I say these things to myself whenever I find myself spiraling or whenever I'm faced with a hard decision or I'm faced with like a move that I know that I get to make and maybe I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm like, oh gosh, like what should I do? I remind myself, Kendra, you can choose. You can adjust, you can learn, you can move. And as you move, Kendra, you can stay with yourself no matter what. No matter what happens, you can stay with yourself. And just that reminder really helps to shift the energy. Okay. And so when you build this decision trust, decisions stop feeling like a threat to your identity. A launch results does not get to define you. Being let go from your job does not get to define you. A sales conversation does not get to define you. A mistake doesn't get to define you. A no doesn't get to define you. Even a yes does not get to define you. You define you, and then you lead from there. Now, let's talk about what this is costing you, because there's a cost to leading from pressure. Because pressure can look very productive. Pressure can be kind of seductive in its own way, especially for high achieving women. Pressure can get the thing done. Pressure can help you hit the deadline. Pressure can help you perform. Pressure can help you push through. And for many women, pressure has been rewarded. We live in a world, I think, that really does like reward pressure. Okay. So, she got praised for being the one who could hold it all. She got praised for being responsible. She got praised for being high capacity. She got praised for being dependable. She got praised for making it happen. So, of course, pressure became familiar. Of course, it became a leadership style. Of course, her system started to believe, oh, this is how I succeed. But pressure has a cost. Eventually, it taxes your nervous system. It taxes your creativity. It taxes your relationships. It taxes your ability to receive. It taxes your joy. It taxes your ability to actually enjoy what you created. And at some point, the dream starts to feel like a demand. And not because the dream is wrong, but because the way you are holding it is not sustainable. And this is where many women get confused. They think, maybe I don't want this anymore. But often it's not that she doesn't want it, it's that she does not want to keep holding it from pressure. She does not want to keep turning her ambition into anxiety. She does not want to keep making money in a way that costs her peace. She does not want to keep building something that requires her to abandon herself in order to sustain it. And she is right to want something different. Okay, that is wisdom. I have mentored and also been in rooms with women who have built businesses way bigger than mine. And there was a part of me at some point that used to believe like, oh, like once I reach their level, then, you know, it's just going to get so much easier. Or once I reach their level, then, oh, I won't have this concern anymore. And what I've learned in these spaces and through mentoring some of these women is, oh my gosh, it doesn't matter what level you are. It doesn't matter what level you're at, right? If you have built something from pressure, from proving energy, um, you eventually get to a point to where you say, okay, wait, do I even still want this? Because this feels like a lot. This feels heavy, right? And the beautiful thing is it's beautiful to be able to for you to become aware of this now and to recognize it and say, okay, you know what? I get to shift this. I get to want something different. And that's what I want to encourage. Versus the other side, where I have seen women get to this place and they completely just blow up their businesses or they blow up their lives, right? Because they're like, oh, I can't take this anymore. It's almost like if we go back to that metaphor on electricity, it's like their system just blows and the breaker breaks and everything goes off. But my intention and my goal here with having this conversation and doing this work is for me to support you and helping you understand that when you start noticing this within yourself, you get to choose something different. Just because you've created the success that you have now from pressure, from proving, or from urgency, or from any, really dense energy, doesn't just because you built it that way doesn't mean it has to stay that way. And you can definitely bring the joy and the lightness and the spaciousness back in to your business and your career. Okay. So when you get to that place and you realize, okay, you know what? I want something different. Or you feel that inside, and you feel that you want something different. That's wisdom. And that's a part of you that knows that your next level cannot be built on the same energetic pattern that has exhausted you. Right. And again, like that's why my role is to guide women into supporting themselves without pressure and instead with precision. Pressure says do more. Precision says lead what matters. Pressure says keep up. Precision says come back to yourself and move from here. Pressure scatters your power, but precision directs it. Okay, it directs it. Precision directs it. So this is what I mean when I say your true power lies in becoming a wise steward of your power. I've said this often, right? Being a wise steward of your power, a wise steward of your energy. Because your power is not just in what you create, it's in how you hold what you create. It's in how you lead yourself when the thing grows. It's in how you stay steady when more responsibility comes. It's in how you hold visibility without performing. It's in how you hold money without making it your emotional regulator. It's in how you hold ambition without turning it into self abandonment. A woman who is not stewarding her power will often feel run by it, right? Her ideas run her, her emotions run her, her business runs her clients run her desire to succeed runs her fear of being behind runs her. But a woman who is stewarding her power knows how to direct it. She can pause. She can choose. She can say no. She can move without spiraling. She can hold a standard without becoming harsh with herself. She can let herself be seen without handing her identity to the response. She can create momentum without burning through her body to keep it. That is a woman I'm interested in helping you become. Not less powerful, more regulated. Not less ambitious, more grounded. Not less devoted, but more precise. Because your power was never the problem. The problem was trying to hold all that power without the internal structure to support it. And once you build that structure, then everything changes. So, what does self leadership actually look like? Let me give you a rundown of this, right? It looks like noticing the pattern before you obey it. It looks like catching yourself in the spiral and saying, okay, I see what's happening here. It looks like pausing before you respond. It looks like not changing the whole plan because you had one hard day. It looks like asking, is this a clean decision or a pressured decision? It looks like honoring your body instead of treating it like an obstacle. And when you get to the point, whether you're there or not, where you're moving through the transitional phase of perimenopause, this is going to be a huge one. Learning how to honor your body instead of treating it like an obstacle, right? Because self leadership lives there too. Self leadership looks like feeling disappointed without deciding you are failing. It looks like making money without letting money decide your worth. It looks like being visible without needing everyone to approve. It looks like choosing without needing absolute certainty. And maybe most importantly, it looks like becoming a safe place for your dreams, for your own dreams, because a lot of women have dreams, but internally, they're not always safe places for those dreams to land. They turn the dream into pressure. They turn the timeline into a weapon. They turn the desire into proof that they are not doing enough. They turn the next level into another place to perform. But true self leadership says, I can hold this dream without using it against myself. I can want more without abandoning myself. I can grow without collapsing my system. I can execute without pressure. I can become the woman who holds what she creates. That is self leadership, not force, not performance, not pressure, leadership, clean leadership. So I want to give you something simple to practice. The next time you feel yourself moving into urgency, overthinking, pressure, or that internal scramble where you feel like you have to figure everything out right now, I want you to pause. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your lower belly. Take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, say, I am a safe space to hold my dreams. Take another breath and then say, I am a safe space to execute my dreams. And I want you to notice what happens in your body. Do you soften? Do you resist it? Do you feel emotion? Do you hear a part of you say, am I though? That is useful information because this is not about forcing an affirmation over a nervous system that does not believe it yet. This is about beginning a new relationship with yourself, a relationship where your dreams do not have to be held through pressure, a relationship where your ambition does not have to be held through fear, a relationship where your power does not have to be chaotic in order to be real. Let this become a practice of return. I am a safe space to hold my dreams. I am a safe space to execute my dreams. That is the woman we are building. So, as we close today, I have some questions that I want you to reflect on. Where are you leading yourself unconsciously? Where are you repeating a pattern simply because it's familiar? Where are you calling it discipline, but it is actually pressure? Where are you calling it responsibility, but it's actually overfunctioning? Where are you calling it ambition, but it's actually activation? And where is your power asking to be regulated instead of intensified? Because the answers that you get may not be to push harder. It may not be to add more to your plate. It may not be to become more disciplined in the way that you've always understood discipline. The next evolution of your self leadership may be learning how to hold yourself differently, to hold your emotions differently, to hold your decisions differently, to hold your ambition differently, to hold your power differently. Because you're not here to create a life that requires you to abandon yourself in order to sustain it. You're here to become the woman who can hold what she is capable of creating cleanly, consciously, powerfully, with calm authority. Now, if this episode felt like it was speaking directly to you, then this is the work that we're doing inside of Lead Like Her. Lead Like Her is not teaching you how to do more. It's teaching you how to hold what you are already capable of creating, because many high achieving women know how to create momentum, but they've not always been taught how to sustain it without pressure, self-abandonment, emotional collapse, or constant second guessing. So, inside of this 6-week leadership experience, we are working through identity, emotional regulation, nervous system steadiness, decision trust, and embodied action so that you can lead yourself from calm authority, not chaos, not pressure, not proving, calm authority. This is about becoming a woman who can be trusted with her power, a woman who can hold more visibility, more money, more responsibility, more success, and more desire without turning it into pressure. So if you know this is the work you're ready for, DM me on Instagram for details or click the link in the show notes to learn more about Lead Like Her. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening. And until next time, lead yourself well.